Welcome. In this short video, we're going to do a brief demonstration of GenSmarts, which is a program that makes research recommendations for people in your genealogy data file. GenSmarts will import the data from your program and then will display a list of research suggestions for those people, and it will tell you where those records are located, what library, what online site, and if they're available online, it will help you search for those records. So let's go ahead and just jump right in. I actually have a sample file here, but I'm going to go up to the File menu and I'm going to open a database. And you can see right here that GenSmarts can open a number of different files: Family Tree Maker, PATH, Master Genealogist, RootsMagic, Ancestry, Family Tree Files, Legacy, and several others. Now I'm going to open a RootsMagic file because that's what I happen to have, but any of these will work exactly the same way. So when I go like this, I'm going to select a file, and I'm going to click Open, and GenSmarts is going to open that file and give me my list of research suggestions right here. Now, like I say, it doesn't matter which program you import your data from or that you open. This part from here on out is going to work exactly the same no matter what program you import from. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. These research suggestions, right now they're sorted by research priority, but I can sort these in a number of different ways. I can sort them by the surname, in which case it gives me my suggestions alphabetical. By surname, I can sort by the date. For those, I can sort by geography, so I can get it based on the place, sorted by the place. And I can sort by the record type, so birth records, census records, and so on. So I can sort on any of those. I can also choose which records to see suggestions for. Now by default, it's showing me all of these suggestions, and when I select one of these suggestions, GenSmarts is going to give me an explanation down here of why it's making that recommendation. So let's go ahead and see. I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to change this. Instead of seeing the suggestions for everybody in my database, I'm going to say I want suggestions for a person. And GenSmarts is going to bring up a list of the people in my file, and I'm going to go ahead and select one of these people, click OK, and it's going to filter that down. So now you'll see there's only 14 suggestions that are displayed for this database. And these are the suggestions just for this one person. Now as I highlight a suggestion, as I mentioned, you're going to see the reasoning why GenSmarts made this suggestion. It makes sense because he was married in 1840. And this GSEST means that GenSmarts is estimating either the place or the date. This suggestion is important because his place of marriage has not been recorded, and it could be found if your person, or if my person, Stephen Busby, happens to show up in that record. It's also, there's no source for that particular record, and it's telling me how it hypothesized this place that it estimated, and it's saying here's the basis for that. There's also some background on the person and some finding aids. This is what it might look like. Here's some other spellings possibly, and it shows me that here are the locations where this particular record could be found. It can be found on Family Search, and it can be found on Ancestry. Now as I look at other records, Arkansas Land Patent, for example, it's telling me again why it makes sense, the fact that I hypothesized a place for this and why. As I scroll on down, there's that background finding aids, research locations. In this case, these type of records can be found at the U.S. Bureau of Land Management. Okay, now I have other ways that I can also filter this. I can filter for a family, in which case I go select a person, and it's going to give me suggestions for every person in that person's family. I can also say I want suggestions for a specific library or website. So if I choose that, I might come down here and say, oh, I only want to see records that are at the Family History Library. Click OK, and it's only going to give me those records for people that are going to be available at the Family History Library. And so when I scroll down, you can see that these records are at the Family History Library, and it actually gives you the roll numbers, the title, and all of that information, so that you can actually go to the Family History Library and find this information there. I can also filter to show suggestions that fill holes. In other words, suggestions that give me a piece of information, that give me a date or a place for a specific fact if that person happens to show up in those records. It will also filter only those suggestions that are available online, or only those suggestions that are marked or not marked. And let me go ahead and show you what that means. When GenSmarts displays a suggestion, you'll notice there's some little icons out here to the left of it, and there's a legend right here. What, the little green mouse means it's available online. A red mouse means it's available online, but it's on a website that has a fee. In other words, you pay to access that data. The little smiley face means it fills in. There's data that's missing that this could fill in, sources that are missing that can be filled in. But there's some others right here: found, not found, plan to search, ignore, review later. These are ones that you can set. So I can highlight any one of these, and if I find that record, I can mark it as found. Just click on that and it marks it as found. I can also mark it as not found, or I can mark that I plan to search it. Or I can ignore it, revisit it later, or I can just clear the status altogether. Now, there's also a place to enter a comment. So if I wanted to enter a comment like, I didn't look very hard. Okay, now when I move down to the next one, when I come back up here, that comment is there. And to get rid of it, I can just delete it. But it gives you a way to add a small comment to every suggestion. Okay, so I'm going to come back here and I'm going to go back to suggestions for Stephen Busby. So I'm just filtering just his. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. I'm going to look at these Arkansas marriage records for him, and you'll see right here there's a button that says it's available online. And I can go down here and look and see that it's available on Family Search and Ancestry. Now when I click on available online, it's going to take me to Family Search, Arkansas County marriages, and allow me to go ahead and do that search. And so I can come into here. There's my Stephen Busby, and I know there's a good chance this is him because it has the same birth date, the same residence, and other information that I already have. And I'm going to go ahead and click on him, and I can go in here and I can view the document. I can see the indexed information, and I can go right in here and I can view this document. So I can see the bond for the marriage license, and I can see the marriage license, the certificate of marriage, and the certificate of record right here. So let's go ahead and hop back out of there. And let's take a look at another one. Let's say I want to look at an Arkansas land patent. Okay, I'm going to, again, that's available online. And I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And that is going to take me to the Bureau of Land Management. GenSmarts knows where these types of records are. It knows their land patents are at the Bureau of Land Management. And it found several Stephen Busbys, and I can click on one of those to take a look at what all is available, and I can go look at the patent image. So just let this load, and there's my land patent record right there, Stephen Busby. Now, GenSmarts doesn't necessarily know that Stephen Busby is in this land patents. It doesn't know that Stephen Busby was in those Arkansas marriage records. It was just saying, based on a profile, analyzing him, where he lived, where his family lived, and during what time period, there's a chance he could be in these records, and so it searches for him in these records. Now this might not have been my Stephen Busby. In this case it actually is, but what it's doing is it's taking me to these records and giving me the opportunity to check whether or not these records do contain my particular ancestor. Okay, now I'm going to hop out of here. Just going to show you one last little thing because we don't want this to go too long. Under Tools, there's an option here called Settings, and this is going to let you kind of customize a lot of items with GenSmarts. One of the things that you'll want to do is right here, subscriptions. If you have subscriptions to any of these websites, you'll want to check that. And then that way GenSmarts will know that when you look online by clicking that available online, it knows to go ahead and check and try out those particular websites. If you don't have those checked, it's not going to automatically go there because it's going to, if you try to go to Ancestry and you don't have a subscription, it's going to take you to that little teaser page where it'll say, oh, we think you've got it, we think this is the person, but pay us and we'll let you see it. So this is where you can actually choose whether or not you have a subscription to a particular website. There's some other options in here that you can just go ahead and play with. Integration, kind of how you want it to look. Internet, how fast is your speed, and so on. Colors, you can set up all of those things. Okay, the last thing I want to show you, and we're going to do this really fairly quickly. Under Tools, there's also one called Customize Records. Now, GenSmarts has support for a lot of different websites and record sets, but Customize Records lets you actually create your own sets of records. So if there's a set of records that you want to be able to check, that whether it's a website, whether it's whatever, or maybe somebody has a book that they can do lookups for you, what you can do is come in here, create a new group, my group, and you can call that whatever you want. Once you create a group, you can create a new record set in that group, and you can have multiples of these. And you can call this Texas Death Records. Okay, and once you've done that, you can move on to the next tab, and you can either click Next or type up there. Okay, and let's say it's a death record. You can choose whatever. This is just kind of to give you that. Only for this country or nation. I'm going to pick United States. Only for this state. And I'm going to pick Texas. I can leave the rest there. Time constraints, let's say I only want them from 1800 to 1900. And I only want it if a person died here. Okay, if a person lived there, I can do that, but I'm going to say I only want a person if a person died there. Okay, I can click Next to go on. I can choose whether I only want male or female. That's useful for military type records, things like that. Suggestion data, you can read about this and do that. Action, what do you want to do when GenSmarts finds a match for one of your people in here? And you can say, I want to launch a web page, and you can choose familysearch.org, or you can enter any web page you want. You can also get fancier and add criteria. If you click on the little thing, you'll get a help thing up here that will show you all the different kinds of fields you can pick from, names, dates, that type of thing. You can also right-click to select the different variables to put in there to do that. And we're not going to spend a lot of time on that. Finally, I can go to Review, and based on that, I have 4 people in my database that died in Texas between 1800 and 1900, and it shows me right there. And when I select one of those, it's going to give me the option to browse or whatever. If I on that action, if I had I could do this right here. The action name, look online. I can set that up so that the button's going to do that, and when I do review, it's going to say look online. So anyways, that is a quick overview of GenSmarts. There are a lot of other features that are in here to play around with and to experiment with. But I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you have learned a little bit better how to use GenSmarts.